meeting in a Brazilian coffee shop in London, to 1,700 employees with offices in more than 20 countries, and now a part of WPP, the largest marketing communications conglomerate in the world.
It's on the cloud, and I have some flexibility to move between. Robert said yesterday, all relevant software relevant for the cloud has been made available. So you can do it on-prem, you can do it on the cloud. You can decide to move when you want to.
Wow, good morning. I've only been at IBM for 3 weeks, so this is my first appearance with a badge at these conferences, so it's a privilege to be here. Yes, I did read the dress code, but it said that I could dress like my customers, and for the most part, the customers of Watson are your developers.
They've understood it correctly. So in the world of online dating, this is a big issue. Once you start communicating, there's really no way to see if your messages are coming across the way you intended, because you never met the other person. You have no frame of reference, you haven't seen their face. And so it's challenging to predict how they're going to respond to your message. So Connexity is solving a problem that is really hard to solve using the Watson Tone Analyzer API. We call it spell check for your emotions. Let's have a look. Tone Analyzer plays a critical and disruptive role in steering people.
All those pixels on those images, it can sort out if it's an image it's seen before or not and put it into categories. So as we put that through, we can help you understand what your customers are posting on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. So clearly, you see a baseball, and then you see cricket, and then you see baseball. And you put all those images through, Watson pretty quickly sorts out the positive ones and the negative ones. So you can
up with our technology, and interestingly, also empowering the health worker themselves. When you provide these technologies that are the latest and greatest, you get a huge boost in satisfaction of the frontline worker. We've seen and measured 37% increases in some of our populations. Based on the success of these initial use cases, we're now scaling from thousands of users to tens of thousands this year, on our way to hundreds of thousands in 2017. So it's a very exciting time for our organization and a very challenging time.
Yeah, and we've watched Jonathan Demagi mature over the years, and it's an incredible job that you're doing and the mission that you're on, and incredibly rewarding, I know, just from spending time with you. So talk to us also about some of the challenges you faced in deploying a highly distributed, complex environment.
Absolutely, and the messaging on the hybrid crowd really resonated with us. So as technologists, a lot of us are trained at MIT and Stanford and elsewhere. We understand the economics of the cloud make that an obvious choice if you're allowed to make that choice. But in a lot of the environments we work in, we operate.
Love that video. So this time, I want to please welcome Weather Company CTO Bryson Kaler to talk more about what they have and what they're bringing forward.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really excited to now be a part of the IBM family. We are at an amazing intersection. Bringing all of this together, weather was really the original big data problem. Ever since the first mainframe was created, we have been working on applications, forecasting models to figure out how do we become more accurate at forecasting the weather. And over time, we have dramatically improved the accuracy of our forecasting. We are now roughly 78% accurate on a 3-day basis, and we're always striving to get better. And while we're proud of our #1 position in terms of forecast accuracy, we want to get better. And getting better involves us having more data. Understanding the current state of the Earth's atmosphere and being able to churn that current state into a projected future. And so as we do that and we bring in more data, we've had to really reimagine and rethink our entire data platform, the forecasting environment, move all of that into a cloud model, build all of that from the ground up to be cloud native and cloud first. And so we've done that, and as Derek was saying, we're really proud because we can now take those capabilities and continue to harness them in new ways. if you look at weather and you look at weather data, you'll understand that pollen data, data related to your pressure sensor on your phone, all of these signals that we get, personal weather stations. There's one on the roof of this building. It's sending data to us every 3 seconds, giving us insight into what's going on right here on the Las Vegas Strip. All of those signals are IoT data sets, and we collect hundreds of terabytes of them every day. We churn those into forecasts. We produce 26 billion forecasts every day that we distribute out. That's roughly 340,000 API queries every second. And as we look at the scale of our distribution and we look at the scale of how we can ingest and store that data, the ability to bring that forward, bring that and use those capabilities to help us grow and expand Watson's insight, to help Watson continue to learn, to help our entire analytics and insights that we want to bring into your businesses and into your developers. We want to bring those forward. Easy to use APIs, a thriving developer community, and all of those capabilities.
Thank you so much, Derek, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here at InterConnect and have the chance to talk with so many of our clients and our business partners. I've got many things to talk with you about today. 29 billion things, actually. So I guess I'll have to talk very fast. 29 billion. That's how many devices will be part of the Internet of Things by 2020. McKinsey says the Internet of Things will drive $11 trillion in economic value by 2025. I mean, big numbers, right? But that's the thing about the IoT. It's absolutely huge. It literally touches everything. A digital fabric that connects the physical world around us. And we think it's going to change everything. From how businesses interact with their customers and partners, to how individuals engage with the world. We're already working with 4,000 billing clients on IoT applications. We have more than 750 IoT patents. Not only is that 3 times more than any other enterprise, but 3 times more than any other country. And we've committed an additional $3 billion to furthering our lead in this market. I know, more big numbers, I apologize. But here's a smaller number for you. 1, uno, eins, in. Watson is the first, in fact the only complete cognitive computing platform. And you've heard a lot about cognitive computing and Watson at InterConnect already yesterday and this morning. It's changing every aspect of our business. And when I think about what Watson is capable of, I can't help but think it was built explicitly to handle the data challenges that the Internet of Things presents. And let's face it, at its heart, IoT is a data challenge. Do you know that nearly 90% of all data at the edges of the IoT networks is never even acted upon? And almost 2/3 of that data loses its value in less than a second. These are the kinds of workloads that only Watson can handle. And ultimately, Watson will use this data to guide us make much better decisions, more informed decisions. So when you apply Watson to the Internet of Things, you get what we call the cognitive IoT. You make sense of the enormity of the IoT quickly, and you start to see McKinsey's $11 trillion of value begin to materialize, from boosting operational efficiency, from transforming client experiences, and disrupting entire industries, every industry, in fact.
Well, thanks, Harriet, and you're spot on the importance of intelligent buildings. I'm guessing you may not have heard of Kone, but you've probably experienced our products and services. We are a global leader in the elevator and escalator industry. In fact, Kone products transport more than 1 billion people every day. Kone also provides integrated solutions to enhance the flow of people within buildings.
And it's the people flow aspects that really fascinates me, because I think this is where the Internet of Things is sort of transforming your business to be able to offer services that are new and of great value to the client.
Absolutely right. Let me take this from 2 points of view. First, at Kone, one of the coolest things we do is look at people flow. Kone prides itself as having some of the best experts and scientists who understand how people move around cities, buildings, and urban areas. This is really important because as cities and towns grow, so are the complexities of getting around and using buildings. We use calculations from these experts in our elevator control systems to deliver elevators swiftly and get people to their destination safely and efficiently.
And you use this expertise in the new services that you're offering clients, right? A new business model.
Yes, this brings me to our second point. People flow is actually a set of data-driven services that hinge on 4 important Kone innovations: access control, destination control, information, and advanced monitoring. Let's take those one at a time. First of all, access. It works like this. You approach a building and present your badge to open a door. From there, you may move into the lobby and then present your credentials to a turnstile. So imagine this, that the turnstile knows where you are, who you are, where your home floor is, and provisions a Kone elevator for you. That brings us to destination control. Simply put, we're making an elevator feel like a bus, not like a bus, but more like a limo. Even in the middle of the lobby, instead of using the up-down button, you can pick the floor you're going to with your iPhone, and it knows who you are, where you work, and the direction to the right elevator.
Good morning, everybody. I'm delighted to be back here on stage with all of you for our biggest InterConnect ever. So, some very exciting announcements, and I'm going to keep things going here and talk a little bit more about digital disruption. We've certainly heard lots of predictions. IDC Futurescape talked about the fact that 1/3 of the top 20 companies in every industry will likely be disrupted. But I prefer to think about the creative side of that because I'm an optimist. And I think we know the ways to help you on that digital transformation to enable you to seize new opportunities. Our Institute for Business Value has done a number of studies, and what we've seen collectively is that those trailblazers that actually make the journey to digital are seeing 6 times faster ability to deliver goods and services to market. They're also seeing better customer retention and improved share of wallet. And common to almost every one of those is the use of the cloud. And as you heard yesterday, 80% of you are using hybrid cloud for that. So, as you heard from Robert, we've been going all in on hybrid. Over the last year since you were here, we have been investing to take all of our software and bring it to the cloud. I apologize for the acronym soup, but you customers out there will know I'm talking to you when I say WAS and MQ and DB2 and IIB and ODM and BPM and NetCool, you name it, the list goes on. They're all available now on the cloud on SoftLayer as managed services, as services in Bluemix that you can access directly for your developers, and as components in our over 120 different SaaS offerings. So the capabilities are there. What you do with it now is what we want to talk about. What we've also seen, studying over 500 different customers who are on their own journey to hybrid cloud, is that there are common elements that we see over and over again. Really comes down to just 3 simple things. They're taking on projects, focusing on outcomes, to either create compelling new services, to connect their enterprise to the cloud, and unleash those capabilities that are there, or they're optimizing their overall business model. Each one of those can deliver immediate value. And I want to talk about each one and what we've done to enable our portfolio to help you on that way. let's start with optimization, because a whole Air
That's right.
travel company that's being disrupted by new entrants and new partners. And what have we got to show for you here?
What they have created is an application called InstaTrip. This application is meant to give you a completely different experience that matches the world today. So you'll notice it looks very different than all the travel apps you've thought about. It starts with a bunch of pictures. Those pictures are all captured via an API from Instagram, where photos have been tagged as travel photos. So that's a very logical starting point for you to pick your next trip.
Awesome. Well, I'm a scuba diver. That one certainly looks good. And if live demos are not exciting enough on the main stage, maybe bungee jumping would be a good idea. All right. Very good. So now I've picked my pictures.
That's right. And so now you can maybe decide when you might be available to go.
Well, it's certainly not this week, but I think the girls are off for Easter break. So let me see about that.
Great. So now that you've picked a time that you're available and some favorite trips, you can let the software give you a recommendation of what you might do.
All right.
And so what it's done behind the scenes is it's actually connected via APIs to the weather company to make sure that you're not going to send you into a blizzard or into a monsoon area that matches where you want to go.
Awesome.
So you'll see you've got some choices. Any of those look good to you?
I've always had the Galapagos on my bucket list. Let's go for that.
Yeah. So here's another great example where using APIs, calling services that aren't even part of your company, they're able to do, we're calling the Watson Image Classifier API to select, based on the picture that appealed most to you of those trip choices, where that destination would be. And you can see that trip is ready for you to set up right now.
All right. And you even have my airport, and I didn't even have to fill that in. So let's go for a great flight here.
So that flight was selected by yet another API. It was a flight information API that was built using WebSphere application server on the cloud, and we can connect directly to that flight information via APIs in this application.
And if you're gonna go big, let's pick that hotel.
Yeah, and here the hotel reservation system was actually sitting on a mainframe. And as we talked about earlier, we can expose all of the services on the mainframe via APIs and be able to access them from these really cool new applications.
And after that long flight, how did you know I'd want wine and cheese?
Well, it's pretty smart, actually. So it looks like you've made your favorite choices.
Yeah.
And now you're ready to actually.
I know.
That's right.
Awesome. Have all my payment information already ready?
Right.
Let's buy it.
So we often think of small companies as having a lot of the advantage to bring this new innovation, but in this case, an existing company, Acme Air, was able to pull together all kinds of services very quickly, inside and out. And in this case, they had an existing billing system that was exposed through their IBM integration bus, and so very quickly set up a
In California, boasting you can use those profiles for normal fraud stuff or to get a brand new healthcare plan for yourself.
This looks very user-friendly, and this is designed for crooks.
This is where information from big data breaches ends up as a commodity being sold.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vice President Marketing and Strategy, IBM Security, Caleb Barlow.
Security breaches make national news almost every day. Over 1 billion records stolen on an annual basis. Credit card numbers, healthcare records, your personal information up for sale to the highest bidder. You know what? Let's try a little experiment. Can we turn up the house lights for a second? Okay, raise your hand and hold them up there if you have been a victim of cybercrime through the loss of your credit card information, your healthcare record, or other data breach. Just look around the room and think of all of that information that's been stolen. So who's behind this? Is this bored teenagers in hoodies? Maybe. Activists? Potentially. Nation states? Well, sometimes. But the reality is that 80% of it comes from networks of incredibly well-educated thieves that collaborate to steal your intellectual property, your business capital, damage businesses, and control free speech, and ultimately take your money. This is about organized crime at an epic scale. And the massive ascent of cybercrime makes it worthy of a business school study. All right, Ty, you've made a career tracking people down on the dark web. What is the dark web, and how does it work?
Well, Cal, you have to keep in mind that today's cyber criminals are very sophisticated. They collaborate, they share information, they share tools, and they have experts in different fields. So it's just like when you're building a house. You have the general contractor, but he doesn't really do all the work. He has subcontractors, people who do the plumbing, people who do the electricity. Same goes for cybercrime. You have experts in different fields. And when you go on the dark web, you can hire these guys. People who create phishing attacks, people who create malware, or just others who will sell data. In fact, it's that data from those large data breaches that we read about that finds itself the way to the dark web. And when the criminals, when they have that data, that's when they start to actually make money.
So the bad guys have a marketplace to sell what they steal, with ratings, reviews, and accolades, just like we see in any other marketplace. But Itai, what is all this stuff worth?
Well, a credit card today is worth about $1 in the dark net. When you're talking about social security numbers, well, the price goes up to about $15. When you're talking about healthcare records, it goes to $60 or more. Criminals love healthcare data for a couple of reasons. First of all, the data in healthcare records doesn't change. Your blood type, it's not going to change. Your social security number, it's never going to change. And they use that data for a lot of different types of attacks. They can use that data to buy medical devices, to buy drugs, to forge tax returns, or just to create a new identity. And they do this, and they buy this data using bitcoins, because it is bitcoins that allow them to do the transactions in the anonymous way. Now, you combine bitcoins, the anonymity for the transaction, and the anonymity that the dark web provides for communication, and you have the perfect market, one that protects both the buyer and the seller.
So, Itai, you saw all those hands go up in the audience, and honestly, it looked like it was about half the audience was raising their hands. How can IBM help protect users and enterprises from these types of attacks?
Well, what we do at IBM Security is we have a lot of threat researchers, and they collect threat intelligence data from around the world, collected all the time, in real time, and then they analyze it. How do cybercriminals think? How they work? What tools do they have? They reverse engineer the technologies that the criminals have to understand it, and then create countermeasures. And then these security measures are pushed to over 270 million protected devices worldwide. So we protect our customers with no actually additional actions that have to be performed from the customer itself.
All right, well, Itai, thanks for joining us and sharing that perspective openly, freely, between governments, enterprises, and most importantly, cybersecurity companies, our competition. You know, we've had to take a major step forward here. We've opened up 700 terabytes of threat information, accumulated over 20 years, tens of thousands of client engagements, including actionable intelligence that hit our sensor array, one of our security operations centers, only moments ago. We've put all of that data, all of that intelligence up on the web for free because we believe firmly that the only way we solve this problem together is if we democratize the data. We want cyber criminals to ask a question. You know, when they're thinking of all the money they put into building that latest attack, and we stop it in hours, was it worth the investment to build it in the first place? You see, this is about changing the economics for the bad guys, and we can only do that if we all work together. So go there, share it, collaborate, share what you know and tell your peers. Become part of the solution. Because you know what? If we all stand together with threat information and speed, we can outthink the attackers. So what we've heard over the last 2 days is that cloud is a platform for innovation. Whether you're creating new apps, connecting your existing apps and data in the cloud, or optimizing any of your apps, you need a hybrid cloud approach that can take advantage of data and cognitive capabilities, that supports integration across your enterprise and across an ecosystem, that it supports rapid experimentation, and it gives you the choice to deploy workloads where they will run best. And that's exactly what we're delivering at IBM. So we're off to a great start on day 2 at InterConnect. Thank you for joining us, and have a great day.